Good evening. It is 7:30 and I'm literally already in bed because I'm an old person. I really am making use of my 20s. So this week I was going to talk about Cats the movie after the musical because I came home from holidays and I turned on my YouTube for some casual viewing and I saw all these reviews of Cats the movie that had come out like when I left for vacation. I didn't see it until I got back and it was like Christmas all over again. It was comedic genius at its finest. It was brought out by Cats the musical, the movie. Oh yikes. Like the budget was $97 million and I'm pretty sure that was like before marketing, before whatever else comes after, like, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know how budgeting works for movies, but like $97 million. Do you know what you could spend with $97 million? Really? Really? So I was going to make a video on that because I'm obviously very passionate about the fact that someone decided to give Tom Hooper $97 million to make a movie that was completely CGI about a musical that no one really cares about anymore. No offense. It totally had its time. I'm sure it was amazing in the time. Just like, no. No. Anyway, so I don't know if like Cats. Anyway, so that's what I was going to talk about. But instead, I recently heard some very interesting news just tonight and I thought it should be shared. So we're going to do a little climate change news wrap up. Tea spilling. Anyway, so we'll start with the most interesting news, which is probably the Golden Globes, which was, I think it was Sunday, this last Sunday, January 5th, I think. I heard that Joaquin Phoenix had a Golden Globes moment and that it was so good. And so he won a award for some movie. I want to say it was for Batman. No, not Batman. I want to say that he won it for being the Joker in a movie. Maybe it was called Joker. I don't know. I'm obviously not very connected to the movie world. In his speech, he included a little bit about private airplanes. And then he like kind of called out everyone for taking private jets to Palm Springs, the location of the Golden Globes, for an award show. And then the music, they like musiced him out. They like put the music over his speech and faded him out, which was so funny. It was so interesting. Anyway, but he brought it up, which was amazing. And like, yeah, like, thank goodness someone brought it up because it's ridiculous. And I don't know who has private jets. I don't know the celebrity life. I don't know how much a private jet costs, but like first class looks really nice. First class looks so nice. And I mean, you wouldn't even be with all us common folk. You'd be like in the front. So I don't really understand the whole private jet thing. Like, what are you doing on a private jet that you can't just do in first class in your own large, spacious cubicle? Like, what? Are you gonna sleep? Like, you can do that in a seat in first class where you get a ton of room. And a lot of them live in LA. So you're gonna take a private jet from LA to Palm Springs, which is like, I honestly don't know where Palm Springs is. Is it in Arizona? Maybe. I don't know. I know it's in the desert. Whatever. Anyway, it can't be more than like a 6-hour drive. And they, many probably take private jets there. So awesome that Mr. Phoenix brought that up. And even if he did get faded out, it was awesome to bring it up. The second was Russell Crowe won an award for some movie, I don't know. He like sent a message just in case he won. And it was something like he's back in home in Australia, like with his family, making sure people are safe from the bushfires that are going on. And he just kind of said, like, climate change is real. This is happening. It's an awful scenario that's happening in Australia. But we need to, as a group, and like everyone needs to make bigger changes. We need to do ABC. It was something about like renewables, like investing in renewables, and start treating climate change as a serious problem and believing in the science and supporting the backing of science towards climate change. So it was really cool. It obviously makes sense for Russell Crowe because he's not there due to this huge climate change disaster that's happening where his family is. So really great that he like called that out. Kate Blanchett won something, and or did she win something? I think she won something. And she called out, or not called out, she thanked the firefighters volunteering and working to fight the fires in Australia at the moment, which was obviously very important. It's a very important thing to acknowledge. So that was our 3 little pluses from the Golden Globes this year. So I guess another thing about the Golden Globes, I apparently quite last minute, like a few days before, they decided to switch out their menu and do an all vegan meal. Not just an option, like the entire meal was vegan. Like, it makes sense because most actors seem to be vegan anyway, so like, why wouldn't you? I think that was it for, oh, I guess the last thing. So I was watching Hot Lamode's video on the Golden Globes and his analysis or his like review of all the Golden Globe outfits, and he brought up a really good point. And he kind of said that, like, why would you dress in like these awful clothes and like use up these resources? It was in reference, I think it was Jennifer Lopez's strange dress, but he just said that, like, why would you use up all these resources to just create like all these dyes, all these like materials, probably unethical labor to get some of these materials. Like, why would you use up all these resources to create some kind of subpar outfit that you're only going to wear once? And it was a really good point. I think the only instance I've ever seen a red carpet look being worn twice was Tiffany Haddish in her white kind of form-fitting gown, and I can't remember where she wore it twice, but it made the news, and obviously very like a good point that she made. She said, like, I look good in this dress and I love this dress, so why wouldn't I wear it again? So the next little piece of tea is actually quite sad. I got this information from Hayden Prose. I think he's a content creator I saw it on Instagram, and so apparently they're in the midst of this Australian wildfire, these Australian bushfires that are going on, and obviously having a huge impact. All these species are dying. Animals, like the koalas, are near functional extinction now. People are having trouble breathing. There's all this awful stuff going on. And apparently there's a new coal plant being built in Queensland as these fires are going on. Like, as the fires are happening, a new coal plant is actively being built. Which is like so unbelievable. It's like almost funny if it wasn't so terrible and sad, that the irony of the two. So it's by this company, it's the Adani coal mine, and I think it's like being built by the company Siemens, or the industry plant Siemens. They're producing a mine on the shore of Queensland, a coal mine, when people can barely breathe around Australia because of all the pollution, like all the smoke happening. And obviously, like, it's different. Like, obviously coal mines are different than smoke from wildfires, but like still, like, coal still produces like a ton of pollution, and it's awful for the environment. And I guess the coal plant is being built as a marine station, and it's being rooted like under the water and secured underwater. Building this coal mine and making a marine station and digging under the ocean will wipe out quite a bit of what's left of the Great Barrier Reef. So that's not great that they're building a coal plant on some of the last remaining area of the Great Barrier Reef. Not great considering all the things that coral does for our ecosystems. So, not great. In other news, the smoke from the Australian bushfires is making its way over into New Zealand, and it has turned glaciers in New Zealand brown. And I assume that all this hot pollution air from the bushfires would also melt the glaciers from, you know, further melt them. So that's not great at all. And that was all I had. That was it. Why do all my videos end like this, where it's just kind of depressing and like, oh yeah, because climate change is depressing, right? Oh yeah. I'm interested in a very depressing topic, I forget. Also just like take care of yourselves. The eco-anxiety from something like this is a lot. It's really like seeing all the videos and hearing all the news and hearing all these awful effects is really stressful. So please take care of yourself. I really don't have any advice. I'm not the best at controlling my eco-anxiety, but take a break from your phone. Try not to open news sources if you can't handle it. Try not to read too many articles a day, especially if you're not in the area. If you're not being affected, there's nothing you can do. Adding that stress on, you know, it's good to keep updated. It's definitely good to share about it, but just be aware of how you're feeling. Anyway, take care of yourself, and I hope you guys have a really good week. Bye!